Hi. I'm here with my dad. Um, I'm interviewing him today. Um, and we're just gonna see what music he grew up with. So
How
around,
long have you known me?
well, I mean, I've known you pretty much all my life.
Yeah.
All my life. I've known you since birth.
Yeah.
Um, so around what year would you have been like a teenager?
Teenager?
Around like the ages of 13 or like 17.
I want to say that it would have been around 1990,
Wow.
1991. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And can you give me like some examples of like the type of music you listen to?
Ah. Oof. You're taking me back there, huh?
Yeah.
Um, I was very big into Boys to Men. Boys to Men was one of the bands, so a lot of that type of music I would listen to. I was listening to, obviously, we were listening to Michael, Michael Jackson, the King. His music is still timeless. So, um, but yeah, in that time frame, and that's kind of like the music that I was really into. There was a band called, uh, oh my God, you put me on the spot here, but yeah, I mean, when I think about the 1990s, I was thinking about that. I was into freestyle music. Um, I was listening to a lot of home house music. I'm from Chicago, so that's very big in Chicago. So those are the type of music that I was listening to in that time frame.
Nice. So like can you provide like specific songs or like musicians or like just like mostly specific songs that you like?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of said some of the artists that I was listening to, but we were always big into like Boyz II Men, like Motown Philly, Back Again, End of the Road. Um, yeah, I mean, that was a time where Bobby Brown was singing Poison, and many others. A lot of people were into hip hop and NWA and all that stuff. That wasn't really my cup of tea, but I kind of was familiar with those songs. Janet Jackson. We were listening to Rhythm Nation. That was a big thing. We are a part of the Rhythm Nation. Stuff like that. So, not a song. So. It's just too many to count at one point, but that's kind of like the biggest the artist that I was really listening to mostly around that time.
What did you like mostly about that type of music?
It was just a very upbeat, very very up. It wasn't just about love and romance. There was, um, just feeling good, and just like the rhythm of everything. I'm kind of like an old soul too. My mom when I was growing up, she got me into Motown very early, so I've listened to Motown, all my life. A lot of the Motown artists, a lot of that '60s and '70s music, that's there too. And so I think I've gotten you into some of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do you still listen to that music today?
oh, absolutely. Especially now that we have YouTube and we have Pandora and YouTube Music and all these platforms where you could just bring up those old albums and reminisce. So I really like going if I'm on a long road trip. I like just to pull up a playlist of the '90s hits. It's so easy to find it. Right now you can just pull up a '90s playlist and you can go back to all those songs that you grew up with and really go back in time.
Nice. So how did you usually listen to music? What kind of things did you listen to music on?
Oh man, um, when I was in my early teenage years, we still had cassettes. We had cassettes. We had boom boxes. So we were the CD was just starting to really take off, and Then we went from cassettes to CDs. So you had to have a CD, and you were really cool if you had in your car you had a 6 CD changer, so you could listen to all this music. If you had a stereo system in your house that you could put 5 or 6 CDs at one point, that's how you did it. So but you were limited to the CDs that you were listening to at that moment. So yeah, and then later on we got more sophisticated with it, but yeah, but back in that time, I was listening to a lot of cassettes and CDs.
So like, do you have a specific memory from that time period where like where music like so like do you have a specific memory from that time period where music like a specific song for example like plays a key role?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've talked about this before. And I go back to that song from Boyz II Men, "End of the Road." Um, it really gets to me every time I listen to it, and I still get like kind of nostalgic about it because it was in a time where I was living in Chicago, and I was about to be a junior in high school, and had all my friends. I had a girlfriend. I had all these things. A lot of good things were happening in my young life, and all of a sudden, my parents decide that they want to relocate to Puerto Rico. And that was a big change for me. That was a drastic change for me. It caused me a lot of stress and anxiety. It was hard for me to figure things out. And so one of the things that I remember when I was in Puerto Rico, I turned the radio on, and that song came on. That song came on, "End of the Road," and I remember literally in my room crying because it brought me back all the way to living in Chicago, my friends, and everything like that. And so that song still has a special place in my heart today.
That's deep.
Yeah, thank you.
um so what did your grandparents or like older generation like think of the music that you listen to?
I think they thought of the music I listen to kind of the way I think of the music you listen to sometimes. And I think that happens at every generation. um, they were like, "Oh, that's not real music," our music was real music. So I think that's probably part of the same thing. But I grew up with my mom a lot, but my mom was really more in my life. And but even though she was obviously a lot older than me, she was pretty open and accepting of the music I listened to. I never got a lot of that flack. But then again, she always, she really introduced me to a lot of her music, which I really enjoy and still enjoy to this day. So when it came to music, we didn't have a lot of battles or things like that.
And what do you think about the music that like kids or teenagers listen to today?
Well, there are some good artists out there, like Bruno. Bruno's one of the good ones. He plays good music. Um, I think the hip hop artists today they've they they sound so much different from what they used to sound back in the early 90s when really hip hop was taking off. And um, I don't know, it's just not an emphasis on lyrics. I think that today anybody can just sing, just come with a catchy phrase or a hook, and sell albums. I think that anybody that can go into a studio and not have a lick of talent and do something catchy and use autotune and become an instant artist. I think the artists before really had to work at their craft, and they had to really work hard and really prove themselves as real artists. And so I think that's kind of the difference that I see today. With a few exceptions, of course, like being Bruno, Jennifer Hudson, um, Beyonce, Rihanna. They're very talented people. Alicia Keys. I mean, those are some of the artists that are really talented and that are great performers in this day and age. So
So okay, so hold on one moment. All right. Just a couple complications, but that got settled. Sorry about that. But yeah. So this has been me and my dad interviewing. Me interviewing him. About the type of music that he listened to. So yeah. Thanks for watching my interview.
Bye.